Xander Zayas versus Ronald Cruz. 10 rounds of this one we get to see, maybe even less, right? Xander Zayas is obviously one of the sport's top prospects now, and he's back in the ring for his first fight of the year. I believe these two were supposed to fight couple months ago, but Zayas had an injury. So nonetheless, here we are. Here is the fight. Now, let's get into it. Let's start with Xander Zayas. 15 wins, no losses, 10 wins by way of knockout. One thing about Top Rank and their young stable of fighters, man, is they are going to make sure that their guys are active. Xander Zayas, since he became a professional, has been active. He turned pro in 2019. He's had a minimum of 2 fights, at least, right? He's fought as many as 6 fights in a year. 2021, he fought 6 times. But you know what's funny, right? Because like back in the day, cats were fighting like 10 to 12 times a year, sometimes that amount a month, if you want to go back a little bit further. But again, it's a different time, different era of boxing. When you have a young fighter, that is the best way for them to develop and continue to grow, is to keep them busy, keep them in the ring, and let them work. Let them work on their skill. Let them work on their craft. And man, Xander Zayas, he can work, right? He's got good speed. He's accurate. He's explosive, right? Has a lot of offensive tools to work with. And he's a guy who isn't afraid to take risks. Like if he is losing on the cards, which he has not yet, but if he does, and when that time comes, he will take that risk and put himself at risk to knock you out or to get back the momentum, man. Sometimes you need a little bit of risk taker in the sport of boxing. In his last 2 fights, he's had a bit of a testing in certain areas. When he fought Elias Espadas, who to that point hadn't been stopped before, right? Before fighting Xander Zayas, a lot of people were saying, man, Xander, man, he was getting hit too much, man. His defense is very leaky and this and that. Defense wasn't good. But to me in that fight, man, his intention was to get the stoppage. And he didn't care if he was going to get hit. He didn't care about none of that. And you can see in his mannerisms and how he was fighting. He wasn't moving. He wasn't trying to get out the way. Yeah, he was slipping certain things, but he was standing toes. He was standing right in front of him. It was a mano versus imano, as they say, right? He wanted to be the first person to stop this person who had never been stopped before. And it was very evident that that was the game plan. And that's what he did. In his most recent fight where he fought Alexis Salazar, Salazar gave him some different looks in that fight and gave Zayas a tough night. Even though Xander Zayas won unanimously, it was a fight where Zayas kind of got countered quite a bit, man. And he did get hit a lot in that fight as well, too. But Xander Zayas, his body work was great in that fight, and his speed and explosiveness were great. All of the things that make him good is generally always going to be on display from an offensive standpoint. I would have liked if Xander Zayas didn't headhunt as much in that fight and went to the body a little bit more, because that would have opened up more of the headshots that he wanted, right? But he's still learning. I mean, the man is still only 20 years old. It's just he's so good that we forget that he is still developing, so we hold him to a higher standard. He should be held to a higher standard, but he's still developing inside of the ring. Xander, and I strongly believe this, man, Xander Zayas has the potential to be a world champion down there. He has all of the skills to be that, right? But there are some things he's going to need to tighten up. Yes, defensively, yes, and he has to be a little bit more patient, right? But right now, on his way up, he's just better than a lot of these guys that he's fought so far. He's just faster than a lot of the guys that he's fought so far. He's a lot more powerful than a lot of the guys that he has fought so far. His speed is his strength, and his speed is going to be something that he's going to continue to lean on. Everything else will get better as he stays in the ring and works on it, and with more experience, right? But he's a fun fighter to watch because of everything that he can do inside of the ring. He's a great talent, and I'm always looking forward to see a Xander Zayas fight. But let's talk about his opponent, Ronald Cruz. 18 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, and I believe 12 wins by way of knockout. This is going to be a good test for Xander Zayas because Cruz is strong. He's a good body puncher. He's kind of crafty and mixes up his attacks well. right? He's not one-dimensional and doesn't headhunt too much. He's going to box, right? Like try and stay on the outside, use his jab to set everything up and set things up properly, man. A lot of people don't like to use the jab, even though boxers say it all the time. The jab is the key. The jab is one of the most important things that a boxer can do. Cruz uses the jab very well, and everything is set up behind the jab. He's going to use the jab to find his way in before letting his hands go. To me, he looks more of a counter puncher than someone who is going to impose his will and his physicality, but he does a good job at mixing and disguising what he's going to do, right? He uses different speeds as well to make things happen inside the ring. I like what he does, right? Now, he's not the fastest starter, which could be some problems because Xander is a pretty fast starter. Cruz is also, to this point, more conditioned from a round standpoint. This is Xander's first 10-round fight, whereas Cruz has done this a few times over before. So that's possibly strength that he could use and try and wear Xander Zayas down in the second half of the fight if he himself is coming in well conditioned for the fight. In his last fight against Damian Sosa, that was a pretty evenly matched fight for both men, right? And a good fight for both men. Cruz ended up losing the fight, but you can make an argument that maybe he even won that fight, right? He boxed very well early in the fight, but Sosa started to come on a little bit, right? Sosa started to be more aggressive and start to let his hands go. And after the fourth round, man, Sosa came on strong. The thing with Cruz that I don't like as much is he often has his hands down a little lower when he's fighting off of the back foot. But on the other perspective is he is looking to set up that counter shot as well too, because while the hand in front of him might be down, that backhand is cocked and ready to explode if his opponent overcommits to a shot. Throughout that fight, man, Damian Sosa just kept coming forward. He would get hit, but he would kept coming forward and let off a couple shots of his own. Cruz was landing cleanly, right? And looked like he found Sosa's timing, right? It was a good back and forth fight overall. But even though it was a close fight, man, the right person won and Sosa won that fight, right? Because it looked like Cruz going into the sixth and beyond, that he was just tired. He was gasping for air. He was starting to slow down. Even though he was still hitting effectively and efficiently, man, his work rate slowed down and you could see him sucking for air, trying to catch his breath. Right. And when he was landing, it was clean, but his shots didn't have the same power as it did in the previous rounds before. So this is going to be a good test. It's going to be a good fight. So who wins? Again, as I said, this is going to be a good test for Xander Zayas because Cruz is a good boxer who's deceivingly quick and moves well in the ring, and he doesn't neglect the jab. Right, so Xander is going to have to find ways to strategically close the gap and get on the inside and do what he wants to do rather than forcing the fight, because if he forces it, he might get countered quite a bit. Cruz is good at establishing the distance and resetting his feet and getting back into the position that he likes to be in. But I'm taking Xander Zayas to win this fight by decision. I think this one goes all the way, right? Again, as I mentioned earlier, Cruz looked tired in his last fight past the sixth round, and he started to reach a little bit more. And Sosa clipped him pretty good, but Cruz has a good shin, man. History is going to repeat itself, and you kind of look similar to how you did in the last fight, which is kind of what we have to believe until we see it. Xander Zayas is the younger, more energetic fighter who's not going to slow down, and he's going to make him pay when Cruz does get tired. I could possibly see, a technical stoppage for Xander Zayas, but I still think this one goes all the way. So I'm taking Xander Zayas to win this one by unanimous decision. What are your thoughts on this fight? Who do you have winning this one? Let me know in the comment section below. If you would like to support the channel, there's a couple ways you can do so. You can like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you would like to support by way of donation, you can find options in the description below. Also, my Cash App handle will be on screen as well. Any amount goes towards the growth of this channel and will be greatly, greatly appreciated. Just started a membership section on the channel. I don't always get to do all of the suggested videos you guys suggest in the comment section below for the week. But if you become a member, those suggested videos rise to the top, and I will do my best to get those done for you. Or if you just like to become a member just to support the channel, that would be greatly appreciated as well. We are almost at 3K subscribers, and I need your help to get there. So shout out to everybody that continues to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Shout out to all the members holding down the membership section, man. I appreciate every single person who takes a little bit of time out their day to check out the videos. So with all that being said, if you've been watching the video this long, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, and we'll definitely see you next time.